Okay, so what I'm going to do here is just sort of sculpting our ugly monster. Okay, so let's go ahead and just to kind of make his anatomy look a little bit better. I'm going to hold Alt here, kind of dig in to this area a little bit more. Start doing things like, adding in the jug. Tool and give me a little bit more space here. Pull all this down. Chest down a little bit more. Glove handles in. And again, it's, you're playing with clay here essentially, so you can sort of get, shoulders back here, thin this out. You can kind of have fun. Not be too concerned about making it perfect. That out. Let's go ahead and add some clavicles. I'm going to hit Control D again to subdivide this one more time. Give me a little more geometry to play with. So, add these two clavicles up and into the shoulder. And since he's a monster, he doesn't have to be anatomically correct. All right, let's pull the chest out. Let's add those striations, holding Shift to smooth it out a little bit more. Same thing here. Just add a couple more here just to kind of... All right, let's sculpt out the jaw. Hold Shift. Let's just give him a hole for a mouth, a line for a nose, some eyebrows, some bulging eyes. We can give him a hint of an ear. All right, so let's move on to sort of poly painting this guy. All right, so what we want to do at this point is we want to texture him, or actually add some paint. You know what, we might make our lives a little easier. I'm going to introduce you to a new tool. I'm actually going to cut off the bottom of his feet so they're flat. So I'm going to hold spacebar here, click on Clay Buildup, and they have all these great trim tools. So I'm going to hit T, and I'm just going to select my trim rectangle, and I'm going to hit OK. And what you'll notice is, let's hit OK again. It's just telling you how to use it. So if I hold Control and Shift here, you'll notice that it highlights trim rectangle. So if I go across both sides, you'll notice, looks like it needs to be, it doesn't work on layers. So I'm just going to hit Delete Lower. And let's try that one more time. And what it should do is lop off the bottoms of his feet, which is kind of cool. And then if you want to adjust it so, using your clay buildup, you can add more clay to the front. Again, this is a very, very introductory example of the ZBrush, so I'm not expecting anything too remarkable. All right, so let's talk about painting. So the first thing we want to do is add a material to our character, and you can access the materials here, or like I like to do, I hold spacebar and click Matte Cap. And what I'll go with is a Matte Cap White or Gray. So here's my Matte Cap White, and you'll notice it'll turn your character white. The next thing I like to do is go to Polypaint and just turn on Colorize. And what it'll do is it'll add this sort of base color on it. Now for my ugly monster, I want to continue with like the last ugly monster I made, and I want to make his skin green and his pants purple. So I'm going to expand by clicking this little left and right sort of marquee here, and I'm going to go to color up here. Now I want to get this color swatch onto this side. So the way that I do that is I click color and I just drag it down here. And what I'm going to do is just select a green, sort of like a dark green, and I'm just going to hit Fill Object. And you'll notice it filled my entire object with the color green. All right, let's go a little darker. Fill Object. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold Control here, out here, and I'm just going to mask out his pants. And you'll notice it made him a little darker. What a mask is it doesn't allow you to sculpt on a mask or draw on a mask. See that? So with something, if you hold Control, you can sort of draw out this mask, and like I said, it won't allow you to draw on it. And it's kind of a cool thing because you can sort of create neat effects like that. All right. So let's go ahead and do that one more time. So I'm going to snap to the front by holding Shift while I'm rotating. I'm going to hold Control and highlight his pants. Then I'm going to hold Control down, and I'm going to click out here, and that's going to invert my mask. I'm going to select the purple, and I'm just going to fill that object. So now you'll notice I have purple pants. Well, it's not perfect, right? I want it to go up on this seam. So what can I do? Well, you sort of have to create a paintbrush. So I'm going to hold spacebar down. I'm going to switch from clay buildup to standard. That's the brush I like to use for painting, which is right here. And it's also down here. I'm going to hold spacebar again, and I'm going to turn off Z add. Z add is what sculpts, and I'm going to make sure that RGB is still on. Now what you'll notice is if I leave that RGB on, now I can actually paint stuff like this. So say I want to make his beard a blue color. So let's go ahead and go to blue. So let's go ahead and, Now some of you might be like, well, it's cool that you gave him a blue beard, but I want to give him a blue beard and sculpt. And so let's do this. Let's make his eyebrows blue. Alright, let's give him white eyes, just to kind of get that, with maybe red pupils. Again, this is your Uglymonster. It doesn't have to be, anything perfect. I'll make his mouth black. And with a red tongue. He's kind of scary looking. Okay, so let's give him some hair, okay? Let's give him a mohawk, a purple mohawk. So I'm going to select purple here, and I'm going to hold spacebar down, and I'm actually going to turn back on Z add. And you can actually make any brush a paintbrush, but what you'll notice is, notice how it's actually lifting off the geometry as I paint. It's kind of neat. So you can just keep sculpting and building out, and you can make if I kind of push and release. So say that's kind of a cool thing, and then you can just just to speed things up, select your move tool and just sort of pull up those mohawk pieces. Something like this. And then again, I'll switch back to my standard brush, turn off Z add, and just kind of clean up that paint a little bit. Alright, so I'm going to end this video here, and in the next video, what we're going to do is maybe paint him a little bit more, just give him black boots or something. Actually, let's go ahead and save this while I still have you. So File, Save As. And I'm going to name this Uglymonster Polypaint. And then in the next video, we're going to take a look at, after we paint him, we're going to take a look at transferring him, taking him into Maya.